All right, greetings everyone. Today we're going to be diving into true vortex math, free energy, and base 12 technology. So you can take this as fiction or real if you want. It's always up to you. You are the creator, after all, of your own reality. Those of you with eyes to see, ears to hear, hearts to feel, and minds to know, you'll take what is for you and you'll honor what isn't. With that said, I came across this picture the other day, and it sparked something in me where I needed to elaborate on a greater truth. So I made a couple of stories on Instagram um, a couple days ago, and you guys asked me to turn those stories for more explanation into a video. So that's why I'm doing this here. Now, I usually don't post on my YouTube, but I do. Before I dive into this topic, I do want to let you guys know that I have a huge project coming up in South Africa called the Lion Project, where I'm bringing my work, cosmic frequency, and ether physics to South Africa, where we're going to have events, retreats, and gatherings, stargazing, an opportunity for us to get together in person and practice more of these advanced ways of being, where we can actually go for hikes and sit on mountains and commune with the tigers and the cheetahs in a safe way, of course. But this is a wonderful opportunity. I'm going to also be building a star temple there. So we are asking for donations, and we've started our fundraiser campaign. You can find it on the website. So if that's of interest to you, please support that and anything else you resonate with from Cosmic Frequency. So that's at cosmicfrequency.org. For today, let's dive into. We have a couple different slides, a couple different things I want to touch base on. Like I said, true vortex math, free energy, and base 12. We're going to start with this picture here. Now, we have to, in order to really comprehend what I'm sharing, you got to allow your other belief systems to be set aside for a couple moments. You don't have to completely delete them, although I recommend it because it's always good to delete and then bring in information that is more congruent with where you may be on your journey. Because traditionally speaking, we are given a very limited range of information on how reality works, especially the greater reality that is utilized amongst other stellar races. Earth is kept in a closed loop system that is self-defining, meaning it only makes sense while you're here. But if you try to apply what you learn here to other places and other spaces, it doesn't hold its own weight. One of the biggest areas is in our mathematics, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, our mathematics are based on the root system of 10, which from other traditions have been called finite math, X, Y, and Z. I'm not really going to get into whether it's finite or not. I'm only here to share the way in which how we're usually taught what it does, and if what it does is beneficial to you and you want to continue to use that, then that's great. If what I share and present here today is of greater value and you want to implement that into your methodology and your way of approaching life, that's wonderful as well. So when we look at this here, it says the keys to the universe. Then it has what many people, the Rodin coil, they talk about the Rodin coil, the Tesla coil. These are all rooted in and based in base 10 mathematics, which is, again, a system that does not perpetuate its own energy. It's lossy. If you're going from a scientific, nerdy point of view, you would say it's lossy. The energy is lossy. It loses energy over time. It doesn't replicate. It doesn't generate its own. It doesn't generate its own energy. It only puts out what it gets in. So we have to be clear of a few things. One, numbers are alive. Numbers are numbers are more the representative of the ether. That's one way to look at it. Just like music can also be seen as the contributing factor to flow and to harmony with different scales and frequencies. Well, numbers act in the same way. Numbers create a flow or a movement in the ether. Now, the ether is a medium, or the medium, that sustains and maintains and is within everything. I call the ether, another name I call it is pure potential. It could also be known as the principle, the Tao, the way. It's been called orgon energy. It's been called diamagnetic energy. It's been called a bunch of different things by a bunch of different people. But we are talking about the medium, and in a religious sense, some would say God, the omnipotent, omnipresent, yada yada yada. But the ether is a very real thing. In fact, without the ether and comprehending what it is, at least to some degree, or its impact in our everyday lives, we are disconnected and we don't have any charge, any flow. And reality and society becomes very stagnant and very unfulfilling, if you will. So, with that said, numbers create different movement, different flow in this etheric medium, in this etheric field. Now, the traditional way we understand numbers is through the base 10 counting system. We count 1 to 10, right? Now, stellar races, their first digit, their first double digit is 12. Ours is 10. So when we look at energy, energy flows, and energy dynamics, we're talking about free energy. Well, first, we are talking about something that is generating life force that can then be utilized for mechanical purposes. That's essentially what we mean, right? We got to look at the a couple words, charge and depolarization. So charge happens whenever a negative and a positive energy or polarity come into contact. There's a charge, there's a spark. Depolarization is what happens whenever, let's say, the negative frequency is looking for to ground or to create charge. It's depolarizing whenever it finds the positive. So a good way to go about understanding this is lightning. Now, the atmosphere itself, the reason I'm sharing this is so that you get a good overview of how energy operates and then how numbers create that flow from that energy or from that potential energy. So the atmosphere, the skies above us, the clouds, the bottoms of the clouds, the atmosphere are riddled with positive energy or positive ions, we could say, right? Has a positive charge to it. That's the way that it is uniformed, is in a positive manner, positive charge. The earth, which we say is feminine, ironically enough, is a negative charge. If you are computer based, you would say the earth is a 0 and the sky is a 1. Interestingly enough, the human anatomy, the sexual organs, the phallus would be a 1 and the yoni would be the 0. Why? Because whenever two people come together, which are just representatives of a bigger concept, again, the heavens above, the earth below, the sky being the 1 or the positive pole, the earth being a 0, and the negative pole, whenever two humans come together, they create a spark, ones and zeros. Okay, so that is the fundamental comprehension of energy. Is a flow in the ether where the ether is depolarizing itself, meaning it's looking for its complementary attribute within itself. Therefore, it is actually creating it is its complementary attribute. And then from there, you once you understand this, you can then apply it to your technology. So I know this seems like a lot. But that's why I'm recording it, so you can break this all down later and watch it at your own time, in your own pace, in your own space. So let's take this understanding now and let's look at what we have here. We just said that numbers represent flows of energy in the ether. They allow the ether, the medium, to move a certain way. Okay. Now, if we look at the numbers, and this is my first time using this, so if I'm a little rusty or disorganized with it, forgive me. I just want to see if I can write numbers down here. Um, let's just use this example. See if I can move this. Nope. I moved the other one. We're going to move it. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Let's use this example. So we have the numbers that we're taught traditionally, right? Speaking Vortex math, we use 1, then you have 2, then you have 4, then you have 5. Oops. Then you have 5, and then you're going to have 7, then you're going to have 8. Okay? 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8. Those numbers represent the physical side, or the manifest, or the material side, or the positive side is another way to say it. Okay? Now, these numbers, 3, 6, 6, 9, 12, represent the negative side or the ethereal side. What happens traditionally is we have an imbalance on the ethereal side than the negative. We have double the flows of energy or focus points on the material side. We only have 3 here, we have 6 here. Now let's look at the keys to the universe. And this is what everyone, people think they have it figured out. And, I'm still figuring things out, but I'm sharing the pieces that I figured out to help those who haven't gotten to this point. This picture here is wrong. This is off. These are not the keys to the universe. This is keys to a finite universe that is not self-sustaining, that is not connected to the source. You will never get free energy using this model. You won't get energy using this model. You're only going to get what you put in, because remember, in order to have charge, in order to have depolarization, a spark, which is energy, you have to have a balance of the positive and the negative, or the ethereal and the physical, which are concepts. Okay? If you don't have one or the other, you're going to have an imbalance. Your structures and your systems are not going to operate efficiently. We have here, let's go down to this bottom one right here. Actually, let's go to this one right here on the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right. Now, we have only 3 points of the ethereal side: the 3, the 6, and the 9. You see that? We only have 3 points on the ethereal or the feminine side. That means there cannot be an adequate spark or adequate charge or depolarization when coupled with these other numbers. In other words, you're going to have a 33% bleed off effect, where what you put into whatever structures or system that you're using to create your technology is going to have a lossy, it's going to lose energy. It's not going to be able to charge and to spark and to generate, because there is too much focus on the physical side. The equations are off balance. What is missing here is we need to double the amount of energy that is coming from the ether, that is coming from the source. So in order to double, to make the equations balance, to double the energy now, we have to add another point. Look here, again, this top one, top left here, we have 3, 6, and 9. Only 3 points. But then we have 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8. There is a complete disharmony. And it's no wonder the world is the way it is, because these are the fundamental frameworks on which scientists intentionally are utilizing to say, hey, here's your free energy devices. So all the people who are looking for free energy, they're giving you crumbs. They're giving you crumbs. They're not giving you the ingredients to the cake. You understand what I'm saying? Now, another thing I want to point out here is top left here is where is the center point here? The center point is not in the center. The center point is down here and it's off. Well, of course it is, because even the picture itself is unbalanced. It's not balanced. This equation is not balanced here. So the energy flows, the numbers are sparking and generating, but they're losing 33%. They can't sustain themselves. So you got to continue to put energy into it. And that's why it's a harvesting machine. It's a energy drain. It doesn't replicate itself. They left out, even Tesla did this, or I don't know if he did it himself or they said his work, they set him up. I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter. But when you look into the Tesla material, what does he always say? 369 are the keys to the universe. No, you're missing a point, because it's not just the 369. It's not just the 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8. We are talking about expanding and creating harmony and flow again. You cannot just have the 3, 6, and the 9. Let me check my notes here. Okay. So how do you double the equation here, right? How do you make this balance? You have to add another point. So when you look at this picture, let me take this one off for one moment. We're going to add another one. Oh, you know what I could have done? I could actually probably just do both of them. So we're going to make this one smaller, and we're going to bring in another one. I am proud of myself because this is the first time I've done this. And where did it go? Did I put my own picture in here? Give me 1 second, guys. I might just have to use the whiteboard for this. Yeah, I think I'm just going to have to use, oh, there it is. Perfect. Okay. So let's just look at this now. Okay, let's compare notes. Let's see if cosmic frequency, if we are on to something, or are we off? That's up to you to decide. You know, I'm just here to offer information. It's not from this realm, that's for sure. Okay. Okay. Let's look at our charts here again. So we have a missing point here. When you add, just look how simple. When you add the 12, okay? When you add the 12, 1 plus 2 equals what? 3. So by adding one extra number, which would be the 12, you've tripled it. You've balanced the equation, right? Because 12 actually means 3. So now there's your third point. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 3, 6, 9, 12. Now the equations are balanced. The energy is balanced now. And you can see it. You can physically see it here when you look at this picture. The X, where they say X marks the spot, the center point is now in the center here. Where over here, the center point is somewhere down here, because it doesn't have that bottom that bottom point. Now, interestingly enough, this takes us into another topic that I want to discuss. We're going to bring in another picture here. We are taught that the pyramids themselves, the reasons that the pyramids follow the patterns that they do is because they are base 12 self generating principles. The ETs and the people who built the pyramids understood base 12. Now, when you look at a pyramid does not look like an equilateral triangle. A pyramid does not look like an equilateral triangle. A pyramid looks like this. It is balanced. It has the fourth point. Okay. It is not just the 3 points, 3, 6, and 9. So this is interesting too, because when you look at our balanced equation here, we see how it looks like a diamond. You would say this is one pyramid. And then boom, here's the other pyramid. And in Egypt, where the pyramids are, there is another pyramid underground. At the center of the pyramid, which is the center point of the equation, is the Queen's Chamber, which is where the energy is accumulated and expanded. So you have the pyramids are depolarization structures. They make use of the ambient energy and the ether flows that are coming from above and below. Okay, so what happens here, working with the base 12 vortex math, not this old school, whatever this is, nonsense, half truth, what you're getting is you're able to create a structure, a system that is actually self-vortexing and self-generating. Now, the point on the pyramids are made of crystalline capstones that are akin to limestone, but they're superconductors, because what they're doing is they're taking the ambient energy from the ether, from the skies above, right, the positive charge, and they're attracting it down into the top of the pyramid, or this top portion here. It accumulates at the center, and then underground, where the second pyramid is underneath the first one, you're getting the negative ions or the negative charge, and they're meeting at the center, and they're causing a toroidal effect. They're causing a vortex effect at the Queen's Chamber. This is where the energy of the pyramids was then dispersed and creating free energy all over the planet. So you cannot use this model if you are truly serious about free energy. This model, this equation, vortex math, is old, it's dead, it doesn't work, it doesn't fit. You're missing points, the center point is off. You're overloading the material side. This model here will give you free energy. You're adding that point, you're balancing the equation. Okay, so now I am going to read into some of my notes. Okay, so I say here, the material side or pole of the reactor is represented by 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8. Okay, the etheric side is represented by 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, should be 12. The vortex math does not reflect the empirical world or the greater reality. It is only a self-sustaining model that within itself does not make sense, but is not applicable. I mean, does make sense, but is not applicable on a larger scale and does not generate free energy because it does not have correct frequency depolarization due to the imbalance of the numbers. 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8 are 6 points of energy flow, where 3, 6, 9 are only 3 points of energy flow, right? So I wrote this all yesterday. I'm reading it off my notes here on my computer. I'm just wanting to get this all out to break it down for you a bit more. Okay. The side of the material world has more energy bleed off points than the etheric side. Okay, so 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, as you see here in that Keys to the Universe slide, has more bleed off points in the material side, right? There's more focus there. That means that the energy is going to be flowing there. Remember that numbers represent energetic flow. They give instruction and meaning to the ether. Okay? Whatever energy is being generated by particle pairing is neutralized by the oversaturation of the energy from the material side. All right. The Merkaba is missing the 12. The 12. It ought to look like a diamond when you add the 12. So when you see the Merkaba and it looks like an equilateral triangle, that is the base 10 model. It is missing point number 12. It should look like this. Now, if you could take this picture, I think I have it here. I'm going to show you. I got this from some of our star friends up in orbit, so thank you. If you take this picture and you could put the points of each of this top pyramid on the sides of the bottom pyramid, you would get a base 12 Merkaba. The base 10 Merkaba only operates with the equilateral 369 model, which we said is not going to generate free energy, although that's what we're told. It's only going to create stagnation over time because it's not getting charge, or it's not getting feedback or flow from the point 12 in the ether. So let me see if I can find this other picture to show you briefly what this would look like with the, here we go, double pyramid Merkaba. This is what we should be using. Now, this is interesting because it looks like the Star of David in the, yeah, anyway, I'm not going to go into all that. But here you have a Merkaba that is the two pyramids put together. Now, if we could extrapolate this out, we would get a much bigger and better picture of it. Maybe one of you watching this can help me out with that, because there are practical applications to this. But you see, you have the square or the pyramid, the true pyramid, the equal pyramid inside the other one. And when this spins now you're getting this true vortex, right? You're getting a real vortex. Okay, so back to my notes. When you look at the pyramids from top down, they look like a diamond. That is because they include the 12th point. Their pyramids do not look like a triangle. I want you all just to remember that. The pyramids, when you look at them down, they are 4 points that come together. They're not three equilateral triangles. That's not what they look like. Base 10 overloads the mathematical equations to the material side, or has too much positive charge, leaving 1/3 only for the ether or negative charge side, which cancels it out. All right, so base 10, going back to our model, is overloaded. We said that. I think you guys understand that point. And that's ironic too, because that plays into the whole patriarchy system that people are saying is corrupt and everything. It's not that it's the men or it's the that it's more of the energetic structures of how this earth realm is being controlled. It is utilizing too much emphasis on the positive polarity of the ether or of the source, meaning too much masculine energy. Now, those of you, please don't take this out of context. Don't get all hot and bothered and upset, because I'm not bashing the masculine and upping the feminine. None of that. I'm saying for as an ether physicist, I look at things as energetic flows. The energetic flows, whenever you overload an equation with too much positive charge, like if you have a battery, if you have a remote control, like for your TV, and you look at the remote control, you take out the batteries, you're going to see one has a plus, one has a minus, positive and negative, masculine and feminine. If you were to have that battery or the mechanics of that remote control, the little spring, if it was like tripled and doubled in its polarity, then it would it would cause an imbalance. The remote control wouldn't work. It would be too much. You see, it's that kind of a thing. So when I read here, base 10 overloads the mathematical equations to the material side, or has too much positive charge, leaving only 1/3 for the ether or negative charge side. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's too much of a overload and a charge, and it's all intentional. That's why free energy is not working in the way that people think with their rodent coils and everything, because the rodent coil follows the Vortex math traditional base 10 model. So you're only going to get out of that rodent coil what you're put in. Not only that, but you don't have the materials really needed to generate the frequency or to hold the frequency that you need to generate to get the thing even going. All right. So when you overload the equations, this creates energy loss or imbalance. Interestingly enough, there's a huge emphasis on the physical world here, especially in the West. Everything is materialistic. Let me add another picture here for you all. Excuse me. One of the ways in which the world is being run is by off and on planet shadow agencies. Again, believe me if you want. I could care less if you do. You can call it all quackery and hoopla. You could say that I'm out of my mind and I don't make any sense. And you have the right to do that. Those of you with eyes to see, you're going to see. So you all know the Meta symbol or the Facebook symbol, Meta. Ah, man, I don't think I saved it. It's on my Instagram. Actually, you know what? If you guys can bear with me here, 30 seconds, I think I can get it real quick. I got to send it to myself and email it. Because we're going to talk about how this world is being manipulated and how it is actually right in front of our noses. So everyone just take a stretch break. I'm sending this over to myself so I could share it here in our presentation. So it'll be a minute because I got to save it. And those of you who are on Instagram, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. Those of you who have not seen my posts and you're watching this for the first time, thank you for being here. Welcome to Cosmic Frequency. This is where an atmosphere is created for the expansion of the soul. The soul expands with right knowledge. Okay, I'm just saving this so you guys can see what I'm getting at here. All right, this is going to be beautiful. So I'm going to open this up. And we're going to save this right to the Cosmic Frequency folder. Oops, so we'll just say Meta logo. It's worth the wait, guys. Okay. So now we are going to upload this wonderful picture. Because I want to show you something really, really interesting. Now, what does this look like? Do you see what I see, little drummer boy? Look at the Meta logo. Does it not look very similar to the flows here, to the numbers here, right? Do you see these two? Tell me you're picking up what I'm putting down. And what numbers would that be? Now remember I just said that there's an overload or an imbalance in the equations in the code. It's in the code of the matrix itself. This is code I'm speaking. This is how you reprogram the matrix. You have to understand the code. The code is just numbers. Numbers represent flows. Flows represent the ether. The ether, depending on how much energy it's getting from one part of itself, is going to generate that experience. I'm helping you comprehend and expand and rewire your brains so that you can rewire the matrix. Now, look at this. What numbers would these be? This would be the 1, the 2, the 4, the 5, the 7, and the 8, which are what? The physical side. Wow. So you're telling me that Meta, which controls Instagram, which controls, I don't know, whatever else it controls, supposedly, Facebook, obviously, Meta is using the same number flows that I'm saying are imbalanced in this equation because there's not enough energy coming from the source or from the ethereal side or the feminine side, you could say it, or negative charge, right? And so one of the biggest organizations that are spying and doing all the thing are harvesting and utilizing our consciousness to fuel its finite looping infinity symbol that has no balance, has no flow, has no charge, and it's keeping you focused on the physical. Do you see how like wow this is, right? So I had to show you this because this for me drives everything home. It gets you to see it's right in front of you. They put it in the logo. We just did the class on the Apple logo. Now I'm sharing the Meta logo. This is all code. It's all how you can see beyond your physical eyes and into the ethereal realm, and how this place is being utilized for the game that we call life. This is also how you graduate and you move on from this game. You become the programmer. You become the codex. You remember your original codex. And I'm telling you, the original codex looks more like this than it does like this. I think one of my cats just knocked something over. So, absolutely fascinating when I found this out. This is, I mean, you can't make this up. I mean, look at that. Look at this. That's exactly the same thing. It's right there. It has the X and everything. And ironically, it's actually even upside down. So you could even say we're living in the upside down. Stranger Things. They not only are they using the physical flows to keep you stuck in the physical illusion through an illusion, of course, but they also are flipping it. So it's inverted and it's flipped. Okay? We're not going to get into the etymology of meta. Actually, you know what? Maybe we will. Let's just take a peek on what meta means. And why do I care? Why do I care about this? Why am I not just focusing on something else? It's because you have to have awareness. You got to be aware about what's going on so that you can comprehend it, so that you integrate it and you can move on from it. You can't just run away, because if you don't integrate and comprehend, it's always going to be there. Part of the game, part of the system is to get you to comprehend, integrate. And once you integrate it, you bow to it, you honor it, say, hey, thanks, I'm good now, and off you go. Right? What does it mean if something is meta? Self-reflective or self-referencing. Now, didn't I say that at the beginning of this video that this system here only makes sense within itself? It doesn't make sense. Can't make this up. This is too good. It's really funny that I'm like sitting here by myself laughing and making this video because I'm like, wow. But I literally said that this system only makes sense within itself. And here we are a couple minutes later looking up meta. First definition: self-reflective or self-referencing. because this is a closed loop system. This system does not generate its own energy. It's not eternal. It can't perpetuate. You need more to go into it than it's ever going to put out. Okay? Whew. I know there's multiple layers to it, but that's the one definition of meta. I'm sure there's others, but it fits for what we're diving into today. So let's get back to these notes. And I trust that this is making sense to you all. Okay. If there is twice as many positively charged centers of flow versus negative, right? Remember that? Then the equations and machine that is created using that system of math will not generate free energy. Numbers and equations are not just stagnant things, but represent and are a real substance in flow of energy or movement. So the math most of us use disrupts the ethereal flow when using it for creating machines and technology. Solution: balance the discharge points of both positive and negative for harmonized frequency depolarization. Create twice as many discharge points or flows on the ether side. That is the solution, and that is what we have done with this model here. We've added the 12. So we added 1 and 2 is 3. So we twice as many. And now, as these flows start to spark, utilizing the numbers that we are here, we create a balanced distribution of energy. We've created a mini sun. Okay, so this is just the bare bones framework of free energy, of base 12, and how we need to shift from vortex math to base 12. Remember, the pyramid is not an equilateral triangle. If you look down the pyramid from the top, looks like a diamond with one pyramid underneath. Why? Because the depolarization effect of the positive ions of positive energy in the atmosphere and the negative of the earth come together, create charge. Charge generates flow at the center. You could actually even do this, get this out of here, put these guys over here. Charge at the center can be distributed whenever you have a correct receiver that can take the energy that's coming from the pyramids when done correctly, which again you would just start the process over again, which you would use shapes like spirals, because spirals is that negative flow of energy of the ether, and it helps it vortex. So if you want to have a receiver for the energy that's coming out of the queen's chamber of the pyramids, that receiver must be compatible with or complementary to the energy that's coming from the pyramids. Like two magnets. Magnets work because one is positive, one is negative. Boom. Right? Positive, positive, too much, nothing happens. Negative, negative, nothing happens. Okay? So, yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I covered everything. I know this was a longer video. Thank you all for being here. Again, if you want to support Cosmic Frequency right now, the biggest way you could do that is support the Lion Project, where we're going to be building the Heart Center down in South Africa for events and retreats and gatherings, stargazing, building the Star Temple, and creating. We're going to have accommodations. There's beautiful buildings down there that are going to be renovated, and you'll be able to book and stay. And if you're an event person, you have your own gathering and stuff, you can actually use this space for that. Over 4,000 acres at the beautiful Kashindu Tiger and Cheetah Reserve and Conservation Site. So that is, I believe, all I have. Yeah, I think we're going to end it here. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.